Their match in Blitz tiebreaks starting in a few minutes. We're gonna definitely follow that as well. But now, Vincent with the white pieces. Here we go. Must-win situation for him.
Here we go. Okay, the game has started. It's a variation of the English opening or the Reti, depending how you look at it. And it depends on Magnus's next couple of moves. How will he set up? What do we think? Is he going to go solid, Magnus, or is he going to play typically kind of fighting chess, even when he only needs a draw?
Well, I think he's going to go solid. I mean, he only needs a draw, and it's the symmetrical English, which is a very solid opening, isn't it, generally? And, well, maybe now he's offering some Tarrasch transposition.
Yeah.
But Vincent's going to have to perform wonders to win this game, isn't he? But he has got the white pieces. Yeah. What to do here, David? There's a couple of choices, right?
There's a few choices. White can push a couple of different pawns forward in the centre. White can also just push the G-pawn forward, fianchetto the bishop on the long diagonal, the white light-squared bishop. Those are the main three options. OK, he pushes this pawn. Will Magnus bring his knight out and just make the position completely symmetrical? Black can also push a pawn in the centre. Yeah, cagey stuff so far. It's so hard to predict with Magnus. That's the big problem. Vincent, his opening repertoire is, I mean, it's just flawless almost, but he is quite predictable in a way, at least relative to the world number one. But Magnus immediately pushes forward in the centre, and yeah, we're going to see this really tense standoff. If Black captures this pawn that's just moved, we see a transposition to the Caro-Kann defence. Also potential transpositions to the Nimzo-Indian defence, and this is why in chess it's so hard. I mean, it started as an English opening, kind of went into the Reti, could be a Caro-Kann, then could end up as a Nimzo-Indian, so it's like 4 different openings in one. I've always found these positions quite tricky to understand which pawn should you take first in the centre with Black. You can wait, you can maintain the tension and not capture anything at all. But, Magnus, I think I've seen him on the white side of this position as well, a few times, a bunch of times even.
I'll just check. I can certainly see he's played it quite a few times. He's played it against Ding Liren in March, and he played it against Anish Giri in 2020, and he also beat Artemiev with the black pieces in this. Let's have a look.
So, quite a lot of experience.
Definitely.
Some big names in there, big opposition.
And you're right, he played Daniel Dubov and beat him in 2020, probably at this. It was the second tournament that we commented on.
I think it's Masters.
Yes, that was it, yeah.
A long time ago, December 2020. We're just trying to go back in time. We've been reminiscing about teenage years. Why not reminisce about some great chess clashes we've witnessed? Meanwhile, Magnus thinking, I mean, I'm expecting him to capture one of the 2 pawns in the centre, but Black could also just bring his knight out. A move I think I've seen Magnus play before as well is to just push the Black A pawn 1 square, just as a bit of a waiting move.
That was against Ding Liren.
Yeah,
in the Charity Cup.
Yeah, so game. Magnus maybe just trying to, okay, he plays it again. And yeah, Magnus just maybe playing a game of cat and mouse here. He knows what he wants to play, but he's slightly afraid that Vincent has prepared it. We see a trade of pawns in the centre. We see there's potential for an isolated pawn again, just like we saw 2 games ago. One move I've played here is to push this one, I was about to say. Played this myself once before. White's bishop now has a nice home, and Black blocks it up. Yeah, very ambitious play actually from Magnus, despite the fact he needs just that draw. And now the pawn structure is in balance. Black has more space on the queen side, but White has an extra central pawn if you look at the central 2 files, the E and D files. What do you think of this one, Simon? Or Jovanka?
Yeah, I was just going to say he's actually repeating the same formula that he played against Vladislav Artemiev and the Aim Chess US Rapid. And there he won in quite quick time, actually, in 35 moves.
Yeah, why mess with a winning recipe? Why change things up? And I'm expecting White to castle here. White's knight is pinned on this left side of the board. The other White knight could also jump into the centre, though. As far as I remember, there's a bunch of moves. White's dark squared bishop can protect, kind of block this pin that Black's dark squared bishop is creating. Yeah, any experience here, Simon? This type of position, maybe?
No, not really. I mean, I've sort of seen these positions quite often. Again, just assessing it, you go pawn structure and pieces, and the thing I like about Black's pawn structure is that he probably has the better pawn structure in general on the queen side, especially because he's got this chance of just getting a passed pawn in any late middle game ending very easily. He can push all his queenside pawns up the board. So that's like a long-term danger that Vincent has. Vincent flicking in a check here, maybe entering into some slight tactics now. And Vincent, I was going to say, probably has to use his pieces to try and cause some problems and try to use the centre of the board. And we're seeing a little tactical exchange now, so there is some threats on Magnus's position already.
I remember analysing this when I played it back in 2019, I think, as white. I didn't go for this because I'd seen that, okay, from a human point of view, it looks very tempting, right? You're undermining this knight, it's pinned, and also the black knight defends its bishop. But I think I remember coming to the conclusion that black can just castle. And now if we try to remove black's knight from the board, actually this transition of a check, a recapture, and taking back, this is actually very promising for black. It looks great for white, 2 bishops, better pawn structure, but for example here, if white grabs a pawn, gets greedy, then the black bishop just comes out, and because the control of this diagonal is so strong, actually black has fantastic compensation. Black will occupy the open file, white can never challenge for this. Also, this bishop tends to be quite bad. Okay, it's got 1 square right now, but it tends to be a bad piece. And on the light squares, later on in the game, white only has 1 defender. Maybe sometimes later on you can exchange it off with your bishop. And yeah, I just remember looking at plans like this one, Simon. You'll be happy pushing the h-pawn forward. White has an extra pawn, but the quality of the pieces is not great, and Magnus does eventually castle.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe Vincent just, well, he's playing very quickly here. I mean, maybe he must have some idea. But what you said there, David, makes a lot of sense. And yeah, black's light square bishop is a tremendous piece. Real strong piece there.
And I can tell you that no one has ever played this queen move in the database, and it's probably for the reasons that David highlighted. I also really like that tweet by Chafka. It says, the dog fascinated by Magnus and his endgame skills. This is the dog's teenage years. Sorry, I have a fascination for pets, especially dogs.
Yeah.
So thank you, Chafka.
Definitely. We do see a lot of cool pets you guys sharing on social media. I wonder if they enjoy watching chess, or if they're like, what is this?
Probably they figured it out, right? Because I was reading in a book that like chimps are actually much better at certain tasks than us. Well, certain tasks, quite a few tasks, like in memorization, spotting patterns. Chimps, much better.
That's where we all come from.
Yeah, maybe we need a chessboard course by a pet. That's the next step. Meanwhile, black's bishop coming out to this dream diagonal, and yeah, even if you lose a pawn as black, black has those doubled c-pawns. Even if you lose the back c-pawn, the white queen can go and take it right now. It doesn't change anything, really. It's just about the activity of the pieces. Also, black's light square bishop can come into the position and just plant itself there, and it's pretty much there for eternity.
And the first blitz game has started between Liam and Arjun Erigaisi. Liam with the white pieces in this one. They have 5 minutes on the clock, 3 seconds after every move. And after this first blitz game, there will be another one where Arjun will have the white pieces. We will definitely follow this as well. But Magnus, with a draw or a win in this game, will be the winner in the rapid portion. And it looks good for him right now.
It looks very good. I mean, if you're sacrificing a pawn, which Magnus is essentially doing, and the computer still loves your position, it means you've done something right. You've got full control. Yeah, I mean, what do you guys foresee in the next few moves? Is Vincent going to be able to maybe change things up, turn things around?
Just looks like Vincent's fallen into a very bad opening line, actually, which you're aware of. I mean, it doesn't seem that obvious to me that it's completely disastrous. And well, he's playing all the moves you recommended, and I can see how things are going to really get hot around White's king. But having a +2 advantage is still, like, for me, it's like, wow, that is quite intense, right?
I'm surprised it's that much, actually.
Yeah. But there's a ready-made attacks, and I really like that, obviously, rook up move that Magnus played. I mean, you know, we know where that rook's going to head to later on, over to the king side, and
it's going to swing across.
And you know, really, Magnus has got these like 4 pieces ready on the king side against White's 2 pieces. So, just counting attackers versus defenders, it seems like you know, this is pretty bad for White. I mean, White doesn't have a plan, right? White it needs to find a plan, but what?
Yeah.
What can he do? He can't really do anything. So it's he needs some luck here to win this game.
It's just about this open b file. If White's rooks could get active, great. But unfortunately, the black bishop keeps this square covered, and yeah, as you say, just zero plan.
Yeah.
What's this queen doing? Nothing at all. At some point, she'll probably just have to return to her start square just to rejoin the action on the king side. What's this bishop doing? It's hitting thin air. Nothing to do. There's literally no targets on the dark squares. And as you say, ready-made plan. For example, if White, I don't know, moves a rook, then the pawn steps forward. Say, I mean, I don't even see any moves really for White. Say the queen comes back, the pawn could even just step forward again. Maybe the black knight's going to jump into the center at some point, hitting this pawn. This is a big weakness. The rook's going to swing. The queen's going to come out. I mean, you never, ever want to trade this piece off, because then you lose all control over the light squares around White's king. Just looks disastrous, almost. And that also, even in positions like this, even if Black didn't have anything immediate, you could just, you could plant the bishop into this outpost any time you want, and it will just control everything.
It's amazing how bad White's position is, because it doesn't look like it should be as bad as it is, because you've got quite a solid pawn structure, you're a pawn up, you've got two bishops, but actually the more you look at it, the more you realise it's horrendous, and there's nothing you can do here. And OK, he's trying to stop your plan, but you know, moving pawns around your king is very double-edged, because they can also be weak and become targets at the same time.
And I guess the downside is now, if Black ever plants a knight in the centre of the board, for example, hitting this pawn now, you can never, ever kick it away with your own pawn. For example, let's defend things first. Not even easy to do, but you can never, ever kick the knight out, because this pawn is going to be weak. And again, just looks like a ready-made attack for Black. At some point, maybe not right now in the current position. OK, Magnus jumps in with his bishop, but at some point the pawn will step forward. There might even be a sacrifice on this square just to open things up. And you could imagine, for example, the rook swinging across and this being very scary. But Magnus, he's going to pick his moment for that. And OK, he jumps in with his bishop.
Yeah, I mean, the sacrifices around White's king are always going to be there. I mean, just thinking about most embarrassing moments, I mean, we've talked about some, but maybe not chess-related ones so much. And I can probably tell you my most embarrassing chess one. I was an international master playing Hastings, the tournament, longest-running tournament in the world. Started in 1898, I think. But the problem is always over the holiday period, and they have a game on New Year's Day. Oh. Can you believe it? Oh. So you've got to play a game on New Year's Day. And Hastings used to have quite a famous pier where there was some proper raves going on all night, you know, finishing at 8 a.m. And I remember just turning up for my New Year's Day game. And I had the white pieces. I was an international master, and I was playing someone much, much weaker than me. And I had to resign after 8 moves. 8 moves. And I blundered a piece on move 6 when I was an international master. And as soon as I blundered a piece, sod's law, there was a massive crowd, you know, just like, oh, look at this idiot. I think I was, you know, just couldn't even see. And yeah, I resigned after 8 moves as an IM on New Year's Day. And I think my record on New Year's Day at Hastings is like, I think it's like 1 out of 11 or something. It's terrible. I've just lost nearly. So that was so embarrassing. Losing like a baby. It was to a weaker player. Not fun. Not fun. So, yeah. Anyone else done that? Lost? Probably not that bad.
Well, I did have an embarrassing chess loss, but it wasn't in public. And it was see, growing up, I had a tremendous rivalry with my older brother. Like, he was much stronger than me. And he used to mock me mercilessly. And anyway, he one day he turned around to me and said, "I'm going to play you blindfolded. In fact, I'm going to beat you. I know that I'm going to beat you, so I'm going to give you a queen odds." So he gave me queen odds. He played me blindfolded, and he crushed me. Ooh. And because it's like my brother, he kind of stopped the position. He kind of immortalized it. He called the whole family round, and he said, and then he took them through the whole game. And he kind of, I'm going red now. And he went like, "What did she play?" He made every single member of my family guess like all the moves that I made. And then
Big brother.
and then when they suggested, no, that has some logic, he would say. Oh, yeah. But, you know, it worked. Because of him, I actually played thousands and thousands of Blitz games, and I was very motivated to become an international master.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It made you competitive, character building.
Yeah,
I've heard that a lot with families, actually. I mean, there's a famous pair of twins at the position. Black is building up, right, David? I mean, there's bound to be a big blow soon, but not much has actually occurred at the moment. But there's the Pert twins. And because they were twins, they had this massive rivalry, and that spurred them on both to become, well, great players, you know. So, rivalry is quite healthy, right?
Yeah.
Have you had that, David? I know you're with anyone particular?
I mean, my siblings, my one sister, she didn't really play chess. She played one tournament, lost all her games.
Oh, dear.
Hi, Julia. No, but, yeah, I mean, I had that rivalry. I guess I'm one of the 1990 crowd, so when I was already playing in these young age group, the World Under 10 Championship, World Under 12 Championship, I was facing and struggling against the likes of Magnus and Nepo, Vachier Legrave, etc. But I guess that gave me an edge. And also in England, a few years above me maybe, but I had players like Dwayne Jones. There was a bit of a rivalry there, pushing each other to new heights. As soon as he achieved something, I wanted to do it too. As soon as I achieved something, he wanted to do it, and we'd kind of push each other. I think it's healthy, and it's no coincidence now we see we have the 1990 crew. Now it's like the 2006, 2007 age group where all of these young players, or maybe even before that, but maybe all these players like Prag, Gukesh, Sarin, it's no coincidence they come through at the same time because they push each other to be better.
Yeah. And Vincent also in there at 17.
Vincent, and I mean, if you go up to 18, 19, there's a bunch as well. It's incredible. Rivalry is healthy. Just remember, it's not the end goal, just beating your rival. You want to get to the top of the world. You don't want to just be your local champion, local club champion. Maybe you do, but meanwhile, Magnus still building up in this position. All the black pieces swarming towards the white king. Black's piece is perfect. White is helpless. Look at that white rook in the bottom left corner. Can't get in the game. Look at the other white rook. Look at that poor white dark square bishop. It's... it's just staring down at thin air. It's a disaster, unfortunately, in the opening from Vincent.
Yeah, just to let you know as well about the playoffs that are going on. The first game, Arjun has the black pieces against Liam Lee, and it looks like Arjun is actually winning with the black pieces there, which would be a really big step for him getting into the final, which looks against Magnus Carlsen. I'm very excited about that final, actually. It's going to be interesting. Those two fight, which looks likely at the moment, but things can change.
Yeah, I can see the bar has shot off for Arjun. He has more than 2 minutes on the clock. Liam down to 1 minute and 20 seconds in that first Blitz game.
Yeah.
We see a rather desperate move there, David, played, but...
So this is the question. Does Magnus use his bishop and go and take that white rook, or does he leave it? Black's bishop looks so good. I would be tempted to leave it.
Yep.
I mean, there's the materialistic approach. Just grab that white rook for a bishop, your material up, and you have a dominant position, or do you maintain control? Do you just play for having good pieces?
Yeah, it's the lure of material, you know, I can't resist. I can't help it. It's too beautiful. I would be tempted to take it off, just because, you know, white gets control of the B line if you don't take.
So you can take this piece, white will recapture, and I mean, there's so many tempting moves. You can maybe move the queen across, for example, start eyeing up this pawn. I mean, you're material up and you're just doing well, but I guess it's also, I don't know. I know Magnus. I've seen enough games. He wants to show a bit of artistic flair if he can, and
I think he'll just checkmate him.
Yeah, it's a badge of honour that he doesn't want to be materialistic or greedy. I think, like you said, Simon, this bishop might participate in the attack later. So how do we checkmate this?
Just start.
Then you have the demolishing stuff.
Yeah,
right?
just start ripping the pawns away, I'd say.
So
Like push this one, or
take on G3. Whip him in.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Actually, I didn't even.
This is a killer, isn't it?
Could well be. You then either bring the rook in, and
I mean, bring the rook in, hit the pawn, hit the queen. I mean, you could even start with in this position pushing the pawn forward, maybe.
Yeah, to open up more diagonals, yes.
I mean, this is a pin here. White has to keep things closed. If you keep things closed, the rook comes in.
He'll play this. He'll definitely play this. He's just working out the variations. He's got lots of time. It's quite an obvious kingside breaker, isn't it?
That's the thing. I mean, black in this position is attacking with bishop, rook, queen, another rook. White's pieces on the other side, especially these ones, they're just not doing anything.
What is that?
What? He goes back? Retreat?
That's not...
Never.
Why has he gone that way?
Why has he gone this way? I guess he wants to kind of...
He wants to challenge the rook.
Maybe challenge the rook also. He wants to maybe use this diagonal to go for the white king, I guess.
I mean, it's probably a good move, but when you can just kill your opponent's king, you do it, right?
Yeah.
Is he enjoying himself too much here?
He only needs a draw, Magnus, after all.
He needs a draw, but
he's material up now as well.
Sometimes the best way to get a draw is just to enter the complications. And in those other lines, I mean, even if he didn't checkmate, there was bound to be some perpetual, right? So surprising, but
still looks pretty good.
Still looks good.
Yeah, I'm not going to criticise it because I might have gone for the same thing myself.
Bringing the queen all the way back to its starting
because
square.
you want to challenge the rook. You know, White's only active piece is that rook. Get rid of it.
Why don't you want to checkmate? that's the aim of the game.
It's not a stylistic difference between you two.
Checkmate ends the game. You know.
Where's the pleasure? You know,
in killing your opponent.
Yeah, but you're going to have
to play with her food.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you're going for the short kill. You know, the fast food. I'm going to go for the long drawn gourmet three courses.
You want the full taste menu.
Exactly.
Yeah, Magnus looks pretty confident. The problem is for White, it's just the bishops. We love the two bishops normally, but only when the centre is open. The centre is completely blocked. If you ever trade off your light square bishop for Black's knight, again, the White king will get checkmated eventually on those light squares. The other bishop, just a bystander. It's just two poor pieces, and White's queen is pretty bad too. Very, very passive.
We have a win for Arjun Erigaisi in Blitz game number 1 with the black pieces in 5 minutes. Blitz game number 2 with the white pieces. He will only need a draw to be ready for the big final. Liam Lea, he has made a comeback before today, so he has to do the same in the next Blitz game to take it to Armageddon. We will pay attention to that as well, but Magnus, he is very likely now to be the first player to enter the final. Well, I guess there is a lot of play left in this one.
There's a lot of play, but it's all in one side's favour. It's just one-way traffic. White tried to plug the only open file in the position is this B file. White tried to plug it with his dark squared bishop, but look at Magnus. He's not going for the attack. Sorry, Simon. He's just switching his focus. If he can trade off the rooks, trade off the queens, he has a material advantage. Rook for bishop, and Black's knight is super strong as well. I mean, it's such a pity it had to end like this, assuming that Magnus wins this game now, because Vincent's fought so well today. It was just that endgame and then a poor opening choice in this game. I think, again, it's hard to fault him. He needed to win with White. He took some risks. He played an opening maybe he's not so familiar with, and Magnus knew the details better.
Yeah, it's easy to fall into a bit of an inferior opening against someone like Magnus who plays everything, right? You can get tricked. I mean, very hard to know what to do in all positions before move 20, so understandable. And I think the last game was really the problem, wasn't it? Not, Magnus grinding that ending all the way through. But Keymer, he came so close to drawing, didn't he? So close. And, but he's going to be around for a while, I'm sure about that.
Yeah, he's stopped school.
Yep.
He's focusing on the chess.
Yeah, still years ahead at the top level.
Yeah.
Got great coach, I mean, everything's in place for Vincent to ascend even higher. And I'm pretty sure he will, just judging on his performance this tournament. But I mean, my prediction of a teenage player winning this event, if Vincent had taken down Magnus, it would have been guaranteed. Vincent against Arjun, perhaps.
Well, Arjun's, you got to go for him now, really.
Yeah.
Looks at it. So Arjun's the main man.
Yeah. And maybe finding some inspiration in Prague, his fellow Indian, who actually won the match against Magnus in Miami last month. He won them in Blitz tiebreaks.
Yeah. It's
possible.
Anything's possible. I mean, to get to the knockouts of these tour events, you have to be super, super strong. So Erigaisi, if he wins, he'll deserve his shot at the crown. Liam, he's been in final before, so we know he's got pedigree as well. Meanwhile, Vincent just trying to block up the white king. If you look at the white pawn structure, all on dark squares, ignoring that white A pawn, the rest all on dark squares, that shows he's only weak on one colour complex. And Magnus happy to give up a pawn to bring his rook in. Okay, he's not allowed to do that. White is now stopping the black rook from coming to the second rank. But this is just a temporary measure. Yeah, I mean, white can barely move right now.
Still got to find a breakthrough. I mean, just got to avoid overpressing and find a way to breach white's defences. So how do we do that?
Yeah, it's not so easy, actually.
Not so easy.
You don't have to do anything because the onus is on white to try to prove. So you could just kind of solidify your pawn structure there on the right.
Say we defend.
Yeah, you know, I'm not bothering to go for mate. I understand there's much more ambitious tries. And then how is white ever going to make any progress?
Yeah.
If you kick back the knight, then you create weaknesses.
Yep, and now these pawns are very weak. I guess if you ever step forward with your queen, the black rook will infiltrate and invade the white camp. We'd see, okay, the black queen come in. This would be deadly as well. White is a bit frozen, but okay, Magnus doubles up his rooks. I'm not sure where that one's going. Is it going this way, maybe? Does he want to checkmate after all, Simon?
I hope so. I mean, he could also do the Alekine's gun on the B file, which we've talked about quite a lot, actually, this tournament, where you can triple up your pieces like that, and then you just bring your rook in, swap off more pieces, and win in this way, maybe, is another idea.
I mean, this is perfect kind of placement of pieces. Yeah. Takes a few moves, but yeah, maybe he has that luxury. Clock times as well. They've just been against Vincent the whole match. Yeah, he's always fighting an uphill battle on the board and the clock, unfortunately. So right now, hard to recommend anything for white, unfortunately.
Blitz game number 2 just started between Eric Icy and Liam Lea. With the white pieces, Arjun will need only a draw or a win to be ready for his very first final in the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour. Liam Lea, he has to win this to take it to Armageddon, to also make it to his first. No, he's been in one.
He's been in one before.
Le Bon, did he? Oh, yeah.
He's been in one final before.
Yeah, he's been, and I remember he lost it.
Yeah.
I think probably you're right against Le Bon.
I feel it was either Le Bon or Artemiev.
Where's our stats guy?
Yeah.
Where's Ty?
Yeah. He's been in a final. But right now, it looks like Arjun will make it to his first final. But it is Blitz game. He is playing a former Blitz World Champion. So anything can happen. We are paying attention to that as well. Do you think this game will be finished before that Blitz game? Or is there a lot left to do in this one?
There's enough to do to make it last quite a while. Magnus has a lot of time on the clock as well, I guess, so he could spend that a bit later on. Yeah, I mean, it would be fun to watch that Blitz game, that second Blitz game between the two.
Yeah.
Let's see whether Magnus can finish Vincent off first. Vincent's clock time, it does really say that he's not going to survive too long, unfortunately, but okay, he just moves his rook, a waiting move. No real aggressive intentions behind that one, it feels like. And maybe time for that Alekine's gun, as you mentioned, stacking up all those 3 black pieces. Yeah, I think the white king is safe enough for now. Not too many attackers around it, so it wouldn't make sense too much for Magnus to gamble and go for the white king. Okay, he's trying to get in from a different angle, the black queen.
This also looks quite effective as well. Well, his position is so winning that I think he could do anything. And as long as he has the kickback of the black knight under control, and he does, there's no problem.
Yeah, so the black queen now is going to find her way on that queen side. She's going to go diagonally over to a4, and actually that white dark square bishop is the target.
Yeah.
Logical stuff.
The queen will sneak in, maybe even win another pawn, right? So.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nice full board awareness as well. Just kind of, it looks like the queen's been staring down at the white king the whole time, and suddenly she switches.
Look at this, Vincent going all the way back there.
It's not good news.
Also 1 minute on the clock. So it's
Maybe this game will finish before the second blitz game in the other semi-final is over.
Yeah, and now the rook comes, and well, there's really nothing much for Vincent to do except kick back the black knight. And whilst Magnus is pondering where to return the knight, we have a funny tweet from Lol Keck, who says that they want us to do commentary on his day-to-day. Or her day-to-day. Oh no, he goes for Netflix instead of the gym. Elementary blunder. -9 for him with no hope of recovering from this position.
He's off to the bar.
Rest is important too, though.
Yeah. Kaya providing the balance. And yeah, thank you, Lol, for that tweet.
He hasn't made a move for 8 hours. What's he doing? Wake up.
Tick-tock, the clock is ticking.
Reminds me of that it's a Jim Carrey movie where his life is a...
The Truman Show.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
yeah, it's good.
And Simon would be there.
Good film.
Peculiar.
What a peculiar day-to-day routine.
It would actually be a little bit of a fun experiment for 24 hours. You're going to have sports commentators comment on your life.
Yeah. I think there should be another, a new chess documentary just where they follow chess players around.
Yeah.
I think more happens than meets the eye. It's not always just staring at a computer screen, studying openings. It's
Behind the scenes.
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Chess after dark.
I think that'd be
Definitely
great.
would be interesting.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Keymer down to under 20 seconds now. The problem is it's all falling apart. White has had to weaken his pawn structure in order to kick back Black's knight, and Magnus doesn't even want that trade of rooks, which would still be favourable for him. Instead, he's going to control the second rank. That's a nice move. OK, Vincent's really trying to force that trade. But just compare the pieces. Black's rook is more active than White's rook, so no exchange. It's sometimes that simple. And, I mean, he's fighting. Credit to Vincent.
And an update on Liam's game. He needs to win with the black pieces, and he's a piece up. So it's quite likely we might get an Armageddon encounter between Argent, and it's very complicated still, but he's done exactly the right thing in complicating and getting a very weird position. OK, it's actually very unclear, but he is a piece up.
So we might see Armageddon chess today.
We might see, yeah. Might see our first Armageddon, which would be great, yeah?
Yeah. So we've only had one Armageddon
On the tour this season.
on the tour, and that was between Giri and someone just last month.
Yeah. Our memory is that, it's been a long day. So Ty reminded me it was Chessable Masters. Liam Le lost to Wesley So, actually.
I was going to say Wesley. I was worried I was wrong.
There we go.
But yeah, meanwhile, OK, Vincent stepped forward in the centre, but this pseudo-sacrifice, just giving back some material for Black, who looks like a killer. If White takes this rook, he loses his light-squared bishop. The Black queen will come in. The White king is doomed. Just that second rank, Black has got full control. OK, he doesn't even capture, but now the two
Rooks are going to line up.
There's maybe a small threat. White's rook wants to come to the top of the board and pin the Black queen to her king. But
Probably still losing.
yeah, it doesn't look like a massive threat. Not the scariest. Black can avoid that if he wishes.
I reckon he'll try to give up his queen here, won't he, Magnus, if he can? Probably can give up his queen to at least get a perpetual.
Go for that White king.
Yeah. But he doesn't like going for checkmate.
Yeah,
he
there you
has.
go.
He's gone for checkmate.
Yep.
Oof.
I think he'll achieve it.
Yeah.
Looks very good. So White is about to win the Black queen, but he's had to give up a bishop. So right now, it's, OK, 2 rooks for a queen. But at the very least, the White queen is going to drop off.
Yeah.
There we go. The White queen is doomed, and Magnus Carlsen is in the final.
All right, it's another final for the world #1, knocking out young Vincent Keymer in the semi-finals.